Hey everyone, welcome back to Mystifying Miracles. I'm Kristen. I search out the true stories that always involve miracles in them. So if you like true stories, you like mysteries, angels, just a good feeling at the end of these type of stories, follow along and we'll dive right in. Today's story took place on a Saturday in 1977. It involved a man named Richard Davis and his wife, and they ended up being eyewitnesses to a specific event that would occur. They took a trip to visit the in-laws, so his wife's parents, where they actually pastored at a church. It was just a family visit, and they were on their way to Gadsden, Alabama. They get there and they're having a good time just visiting with her folks. And one of the days they were there, a family that actually attended the church that her parents pastored at, they stopped by for a quick pop-in visit. And the family had a 6-year-old daughter named Shanna. Well, Shanna's running around playing outside while the adults are just chatting on the porch and, they're getting ready to leave. Well, kids being kids, they get bored, right? And this is 1977, so you didn't have a phone to play with or anything like that. Shanna actually hops into her parents' car, and in doing so, she accidentally kicks the car into neutral, and it begins to slowly roll. Now, the parents, they hadn't seen Shanna get inside the car, but once the car began to roll, they noticed. And Richard says, him and his wife were there chatting with the couple as well. He remembers looking and he said all of the adults were just kind of frozen in time in that moment, almost shocked at what was happening before their eyes. And before they knew it, the adults are taken off running, but it was already too late because the car was now rolling faster towards the street. And this frightened, obviously, 6-year-old Shanna, scares her when the car starts to move. So her thinking was to jump out of the driver's door because she didn't know what else to do. She was scared. And in doing so, her little dress got snagged onto the window. It was actually, the window handle because, again, 77, they didn't have automatic locks in windows back then. Or if they did, it was not a common thing. So the little rolly thing, to roll down the window, got snagged on her dress. And as she's trying to get out, it pulls her under as the car's rolling. By the time the adults get to her in the car, the damage was done because little Shanna had already been dragged under the front tire, and the front tire had already cleared and rolled over her abdomen. Obviously, the adults are terrified. One of them picks up Shanna's little body, and they said she was just limp. And they began to put her in a vehicle, and some of the adults hop in to rush her to the ER. In retrospect, yes, they probably should have not moved her and just called an ambulance, but this was 77. And of course, in the panic and the rush of everything, it was just automatic. They just did it. Richard says that many of the adults, as this was happening, just began, some of them yelling out for Jesus to help. And the whole way there to the hospital, because all the adults ended up going, they were just praying that little Shanna would be okay. They get there, the doctors come, they get Shanna, take her back, and Richard says several hours went by, and during those hours, the adults are just nervously pacing down the hallway back and forth, and Richard, he couldn't help but to think of poor Shanna, this little 6-year-old girl, and the internal injuries, internal bleeding, broken bones, that she must have, obtained from this event. And Richard thought also about what he had just witnessed. I mean, it was a 60s modeled car that ran over this little girl, and he said the front of it was very heavy. So there's no way that this little girl was going to be okay. Well, after those first few hours pass by, a doctor finally makes it to the waiting room to inform everyone. And he says that little Shanna, no internal injuries, no bleeding, no broken bones. Everything looked fine. All the scans, all the tests, all was well. And due to that, they were sending her home. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. What? I mean, you'd probably expect at the very least, some broken ribs, right? But nope. Nothing. That's definitely a miracle. And in fact, the next day was Easter Sunday. And when all the adults that had been witness to this, they were at church the next day as well. And little Shanna just running around with all the other kids, not a worry in her mind. Fine. I just find that so crazy. How can like a heavy car like that run over a small child and not one thing be wrong? I can tell you how. A miracle. Let me know what you guys think. Now, Richard also, he said, I know there's skeptics out there, and despite what they might say, I know what I saw that day, and I know what I witnessed. That, nothing short of a miracle of God. I agree with that, indeed. Let me know your thoughts on this one. Just another miracle in the books. I mean, it's crazy how many of these things happen on a daily basis. And it's just the purpose of why I want to tell you guys about them, because it helps remind us of the good things that God is still doing, even though the world is all crazy around us, right? Anyway, hope you guys are having a fabulous week. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching and so much for your support and your kindness. Some of you guys are just leaving the nicest messages and comments, and it touches my heart. So thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you for the next one.